Women of Reddit, what do men do that they think is okay, but is actually creepy? Where's my hug? If you have to force a hug, you don't have a hug level relationship with that person. Saying anything along the lines of "you're perfect" upon minutes of meeting. Classic schmoss B. Huh. I don't have air in my car, but it's so hot where I live, so my windows are always down. When I come to a red light, men try to talk to me from their vehicles, and it makes me wildly uncomfortable, because I obviously can't get away. Ask them if they know Jesus as their personal Lord and Savior. They should leave you alone. Tout sweet. Possibly the best way to end any newly started conversation. Oh my gosh, I love Jesus. What's your favorite commandment? Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's ass. And my eyes are up here, buddy. I have a large tattoo on my shoulder, and I've had several men come up from behind and move my tank top strap and bra strap to see it better. It's been mostly in grocery stores and Lowe's of all places. What the fuck? Touching without permission is bad enough, but to move clothing to expose more skin? I'd like to believe your average guy does not think this is okay. I sure as fuck don't. That hassling you for a date because you don't have a BF is not okay, but you don't have a BF. The point is, dude, I'd rather be single than date you. Take the bloody hint. I've never understood this mentality. I've seen guys do this. As a guy, I can't imagine trying to fight past a no. I don't care what the reason is. If I ask you out and you say any variation of no, I'm just going to call off the whole thing. But you don't have a boyfriend. And what does that have to do with you, my guy? Like single girls are just waiting for anybody to ask them out. Yikes. They respect the idea of another man's property more than a woman's autonomy. I've come across a few men who don't seem to understand that I have a boyfriend means I'm not single, and I don't want to be pursued or flirted with. I tell guys I'm married and it still doesn't always stop them. One guy even replied with "you happy?" One asked if my husband eats me out. So naturally you eloped with this silver-tongued cavalier. My wife had a boss that would come up behind the ladies and start giving them shoulder massages. Not cool, dude. When I'm walking down the sidewalk, follow me slowly in a car while trying to talk to me. I fucking hate this. I'm a guy, and another random guy did that to me. That was a strange experience. Putting their hands on your thigh or back casually while talking to you. If I'm being friendly, it's not a signal for you to touch me. Far too many coworkers, creepy uncles, etc. find this okay. Especially when they act super defensive with their hands up like okay geez. When you tell them not to, they would feel just as offended if another man did it to them. Tell you to smile. It used to make me really uncomfortable. Now I just grin manically at them. My standard response is a deadpan. I'm smiling. That is so Wednesday Addams. I love it. You're cute when you're angry. You're thoroughly unattractive when you're condescending. When strange men approach me and start asking personal questions, like we are on a first date. Honest question. As a socially inept person, I'm often told that a good conversation strategy is to ask the person about themselves. How should I make sure I'm not doing this? Thinking it's okay to send dick pics by way of introduction. Maybe I'll want to see it at some point eventually, but try saying hi first. Send some random dick pic back to them. They'll know what it feels like to receive an unsolicited dick pic and be mortified upon discovering that you have a dick. My favorite was the meme where someone replied to an unsolicited dick pic obviously belonging to an adult. Is that a child's penis? Why are you sending me child porn? Flip the script. Honking, yelling or some form of catcalling while I'm running, or even just walking down the street. I don't think any relationship in the history of ever started with some creepy guy catcalling a random woman walking down the street. Why is this still a thing? I hate it. Can you imagine? Oh sweetie, tell us how you two met. I was on my morning jog and he whistled and then yelled, "Damn, look at that ass." I knew he was the one. When they walk behind you, they either touch your lower back or give your shoulders a squeeze. Those things are only okay for my husband to do. No one else. It isn't cute or endearing. It's extremely uncomfortable to deal with and makes women avoid you or cringe when you're near. There's an older woman I work with who does these sort of things to me all the time. I'm a 6'4" dude and the expectation is that I just let it happen. She'll rub my back, or grab my shoulders, randomly come spin my chair around, and sit in my lap, then carry on a conversation with someone else, press her boobs against my back, and pinch my ass. Things like this are really hard to deal with, because it isn't like I can just sock her in the jaw or throw her ass on the floor. But I have no fucking clue how to handle it beyond talking to her about it again. But it hasn't worked the last several dozen times. The way everyone else acts when she's doing thing make it that much more difficult to do anything, because they all act like it's perfectly fine despite my regular requests for her to get off and stay off of me. My dude, most of that is sexual harassment. You are being sexually harassed. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Fuck, this sucks. My workplace is mostly men. There are 3 women and approximately 25 men. I used to bring in homemade baked goods a lot. Pumpkin bread, brownies, cookies, s'mores bars and the like. I enjoy being in the kitchen. It's a nice gesture to share. One guy started drawing me borderline inappropriate Minnie Mouse drawings. Not done well. Traced images but with small changes like her bloomers to short. Weird to explain. I'm the exact opposite of a person you'd think would like anything Disney related, let alone sexy Minnie. He said he drew them to thank me for the treats. I stopped bringing in treats, which resulted in everyone else questioning why I quit baking. Very awkward all around. Honestly, I would tell them, because creepy guy kept giving me pervy, poorly drawn Minnie Mouse fan art whenever I'd bring something in. Exactly. Tell them the cause and nothing more. They'll find out who it is eventually and deal with it. Grabbing my wrists. It is a huge ultimate fuck no. TF. Is this a thing? Why? Follow you around while you're out, because they want to keep talking to you after you've already made 2 attempts to end the conversation. DMs. Hey, I'm not interested. Fuck you, you stupid bitch. Basically r/nasa guys. Gay men who grope you and say it's okay. I'm gay and not attracted to women at all. So step the fuck off my dress, Mary, and keep your fucking hands to yourself like a normal gay person then. Pretty sure this happened to Scarlett Johansson on the red carpet. Guy openly grabbed her boobs like it was no big deal. Constantly pushing for a date after saying we aren't interested. Like a high school boy having a crush and the girl saying, I just like you as a friend, and they keep pushing like she'll fall in love. Sorry, that's just a fairytale. Please stop after we say we don't like you. No hard feelings. We just don't want to date you. Cause that's what rom-com and other such media have ingrained in people. When a girl says no the first time, it's just an obstacle the brave protagonist needs to overcome. Just keep asking, and she'll break down in Act 3 and say yes. How I Met Your Mother is a story of how 4 fucking terrible people and Marshall Erickson do all that and worse over and over while living in giant places they can't afford in New York City. Guys who try to assert their dominance by crushing your hand while shaking it. I have arthritis and it is excruciatingly painful. A guy would do that to a woman. Dare me to kiss my girlfriend in front of him to prove I'm lesbian/bi. Disgusting and daily. Earlier this year, the attack on 2 women on a bus started like this, no? Yep. I know you said you're a lesbian, but I think you're cute and wanted to know if you'll give me a chance. Admittedly, that has thankfully only happened to me online, and that is a politely worded version. But I have plenty of friends who have gotten it in real life too. A guy once tried to ask out one of my lesbian friends once by claiming that she just hasn't found the right dick yet. I stopped him and told him that he just hasn't found the right dick yet. He was not gay or amused. You gave him something to ponder that day that he wasn't prepared to ponder. Maybe it's just me, but asking if I live alone. Now if at this point of inquiry there was an already established friendship, I suppose it's okay. But if you are a stranger or an acquaintance, that would freak me out. I've got curly hair, and I'm sick of men thinking they can just come and grab a coil of hair and pull it like I'm some kind of slinky spring. Don't touch my fucking hair, and don't call me moody when I tell you to stop. Eater. Seems like it's people with curly hair, colored hair, long hair, no hair and facial hair all suffering together here. Also, I've not had many women reach for my hair, but obviously they do. Please don't touch our hair without permission. It's such an intimate thing to do for a lot of us. Man with curly hair. Both sexes did it to me. Worst was when I had an afro. A guy tried to pour his beer into it to see if it was like a sponge. I'm short and was almost a foot shorter than the perp, but if he had succeeded I would have hit him regardless. Sometimes it's about principle. Consistent pursuit. My senior year of high school, a junior guy kept pursuing me. We were in an Algebra 2 class together and had after school practices for theater. This was my first year in any production. My goals that year were to try something new and maybe make some new friends. Enter junior. It started off as friendly conversations. Things we had in common. He was nice and funny, but not my type. There was no spark for me. He asked me out. I said no. He was polite about my rejection and I figured we'd be friends. About 2 months into the school year, he said that he was having a bunch of the cast over for a party that weekend. Sure. Who doesn't like a party? When I got to his house it was just him, his family, and me. I thought I was early. No problem. I sat in the living room and we talked. 15 minutes later I texted a friend and told her to call me as soon as possible and fake an emergency because my gut felt off. By the time she calls, I've been there about 35 minutes. His mom is almost done cooking dinner. No one else has shown up. And his dad had made a passing remark about his son bringing such a nice girl for dinner. That was the official red flag. I knew Junior hadn't invited anyone else over. I noped out of there saying my sister had locked herself out of the house and she needed my key. I ignored him as much as I could after that. One word responses when he asked me things. Minimal interaction during class and practice. He asked me out 3 more times that year, either oblivious or ignorant to my attraction. The last time was to prom and he knew I had started dating someone. He played it off as oh no, I meant both of you come with me. Not a group mind you. Just him. I had to drop out of theater that spring due to a band conflict, and it ended up being a blessing, because it got me away from him. It's a tame example, but it still gives me the creeps when I remember him. I never understood this. You can't trick someone into dating you. I was going to ask why people think it works, then realized it's the plot of almost every romantic comedy. It's so true. I read an article a while ago about how it plays out similarly in India. Bollywood rom-coms depict shy heroines and persistent heroes. The idea that she's only saying no because she's playing hard to get is the basis of every damn movie. You can guess how that plays out during daily interactions between men and women. When men I don't know well at all do random favors for me without me asking. I know it can come from an innocent place, but I've had enough build-ups to creepy behavior that started with small things that I'm immediately suspicious. Example, not terribly dark. A previous neighbor of mine who was around 45, I was 25. We lived in a house split into apartments, so we shared a yard. He would water my flowers, spread mulch onto my flower beds, clean my gutters, etc. without asking beforehand if I wanted or needed him to help. But he'd always tell me afterward he'd done it. I was already kind of wary about what he expected from me, so I thanked him with a 6-pack, which seemed to disappoint him. He also said numerous times that he worries about me living alone, and he'd protect me if I ever had an intruder or anything. Which, okay, thanks. I decided he was just a generous person. He introduced me to the other neighbors, and once in a while we'd all go out for a drink at the pub down the road, and he'd pay for everyone's drinks, regardless of whose idea it was to go out. So I thought, okay, this is just how he is. And I thought that until I looked up from my couch around 11 PM, and he was standing in my flower bed staring through my window with his hands cupped around his eyes. He grinned and tapped on the glass like, hey, come here, let's talk. So I went outside. I was waiting on a friend to come pick me up, to find him wearing what I think was a suit, swaying, very drunk, and he says, let's go out. Where do you want to go? I was like, hey, sorry, I've got plans with a friend tonight. So he interrogates me about what kind of friend. It was a guy. Then out comes the list of all the things he's done for me. How he'd never let anyone hurt me. How even though he's old enough to be my father. Then he kind of trailed off. I asked, do you mean go out on a date? Mumbles, yeah, kind of. I said I didn't think of him that way, and that he was right. I kind of did put him in the category of people my father's age. Then he got mad saying things like, wow, so that's how you're gonna be, huh? And I was just so surprised and had no idea what to do, so I just started apologizing. My friend arrived with flawless timing. People forget that relationships aren't transactional. Hi cutie, 3 blushes. Check out /r/creepy * for some shining examples of this. I'm an elderly woman and it really pisses me off when men that I don't know call me sweetie or honey or sweetheart. Dudes, just don't. I'm not your grandma with a dish of cookies for you. could you be? I want a grandma that says dude. Also, I like cookies. I wish my parents and grandma were cool enough to use Reddit. My dad can barely use his flip phone. I claimed the internet Gma first.